Welcome to day 5 of the From Pain to Peace challenge. The promise of the challenge has been that you would learn over 5 days, 5 different ways to get present using your 5 senses, no matter what else might be going on in your life. So that's a very useful thing to do because once you're present and once you're centered, you will wind up making better decisions about the various challenges in your life. And we do have challenges. There are things which happen. Hi, Nora. Today's the last day. I will be taking down the Facebook Lives on Sunday at midnight. So if you want to watch them, all 5 of them will be up through Sunday at midnight. If you have friends who would like to see them, just make sure that they get in by that time, by Sunday at midnight. Just let me know if you can see and hear me okay with a yes in the comments so that I know. Hi, Camille. Okay, Monday's Facebook Live was on sight. Tuesday's Facebook Live was on sound. Wednesday's Facebook Live was on taste, and Thursday's Facebook Live was on smell. Feel free to go back if you're watching the replay and watch those. They were pretty cool. They were pretty great. On yesterday's, I just want to let you know that there were 2 broadcasts, not just one, because I had some technical difficulties and I got bumped out at about 6 minutes. So you're going to look for one and then you're going to look for a second that says continuing. Imagine these are all presence practices. How do you get present in your own body so that you can feel more peaceful, so that you don't experience, you aren't in the moment of the pain, because memories cause us pain. Fear causes us pain. So you're not in the moment of the pain of grief or regrets from the past, or fear about the future, fear about an unknown future. So getting present allows you to just for a moment step back and step aside from that. And basically what it means is that you can become more peaceful. You can slow down. When you slow down your self-care, it amplifies its effect and it doesn't take more time. So that's kind of a secret. So you can spend 5 minutes of really mindful, really slow self-care, and it will have a better and more powerful effect than rushing through a half an hour. Okay, so there's a quick tip for you. My name's Allison Penna, Bad Widow and creator of the Affluence Code system. Why this challenge? Bringing yourself into the present, the ability to bring yourself into the present no matter what is going on, because things happen in life. Life knocks us sideways. Things happen at work. Things happen in our home environment. Things happen in the country, to the environment. Things happen. Things happen to all of us. This is not about changing or controlling those things. These presence practices are about giving you a respite from the anxiety and the stress, the grief, the regrets, the fear, any of the emotions, the shame, whatever is there that is keeping you from making really powerful decisions, that is keeping you from finding some measure of peace. When Dave was sick, I lived mostly terrified for over a year. And actually, I lived terrified from when he was diagnosed with diabetes and he started having low blood sugar crashes. So it was significantly more than a year that on some level I was scared all the time. So part of what I did was I developed these practices so that I could get centered in my body, so that I could be a little bit less scared, so that I could get a rest from that experience. Okay, today we're going to practice using touch to get present. So as I've done on some of the other broadcasts, I'm going to give you some facts about touch which you may not know. We know quite a lot about smell and about hearing. Those are things that there's been a lot of research done on them. There's not a lot that's been done on touch, actually. Although we know in experiments with monkeys that if a monkey is not given something to hold on to that's sort of warm and cuddly, if a monkey is given a wire cage thing to hold on to versus something that has fur that's more similar to its own fur. It will wind up not being able to socialize with other monkeys. It will wind up isolated and lonely, and we know that for a fact. So that's the power of touch. Touch affects men and women differently. So even a slight touch can be a really, really powerful thing. Studies show that being touched in a friendly, non-sexual way can cause physical and psychological changes. Now, women are much more wary of touch than men are because, you know, there is more danger for women in touch, in certain kinds of touch. And we are very, very aware of that. The human finger, each of your fingers can distinguish between surfaces that are patterned with ridges as small as 13 nanometers. Okay, so how big is a nanometer? A nanometer is 1,000th of a micrometer. A micrometer is 1,000th of a millimeter, or roughly 0.00004 inches. Really, really small. On smooth surfaces, humans can feel large molecules and single-celled organisms, including viruses, which can be 200 to 300 nanometers. This was an interesting fact. So we know a lot about the power of touch in communication. So if you reach out to a person you're talking to and touch their arm and show compassion for something they're saying, we understand that it's connective in terms of communication. We may not understand that it is also really, really important for performance. So in studies, what they've seen is that teams who are more touchy-feely, who do like fist bumps or pats on the back or something like that, they actually perform better individually and as a team. Women have a better sense of touch. Mostly it's because women have smaller hands. So all hands have the same number of sensory receptors in them. But because women have smaller hands, those receptors are in closer proximity than any in men's hands typically. Some of those receptors respond to vibration and some respond to indentation. Okay, so they're sort of coded for different things. They're not actually fingerprints or epidermal ridges are not actually for gripping. So we think of gripping onto something, holding on to something like climbing something or grabbing something, taking down a jar, whatever. They're not actually for that. They are for amplifying our capacity to touch. So what they do is they filter background vibrations which fall above and below 250 hertz, right? So that's fascinating, right? It means that you can focus on what's really important to you because there's a whole bunch of white noise above and below the spectrum of our vibrational knowing that we just can ignore. Okay. Let's think about touch. Let's think about different kinds of touch. And then I'm going to show you some items and do what I usually do. So human touch. I remember a time, and because when Dave died, I don't have children, there was no human touch in my life, very little human touch in my life. I had to go out and find friends, go out and find people to get a hug. So the place where I go to sing, Singer Space, I could go there and sing and people would hug me. And I was starving for that human touch, for actually having a human connection. There was one time I was so sad and so missing Dave in that first year after he died. And I went downstairs and I was talking to the doorman for a human connection. And I said, I am so sad and I so miss Dave. And he said, would you like a hug? He didn't push one on me. He asked me. And I thought, oh my gosh, yes, I would like a hug. So human touch is really important. There is a reason why there are animal therapy dogs. So the touch of another living creature is really important. The touch of fabrics. So fabrics like, let me start my show and tell, okay? So fabrics like this is a blanket that someone sent me after Dave was diagnosed, and this person said, you know, for this kind of news, you really need a blankie like Linus. And so this is mine, and it's very soothing for me to stroke it. Like, it's comforting and calming to stroke it. It has two sides. So it has this side, which is a little bit rougher, and then this side, which is very, very smooth. So depending on how I want to feel, I might touch one side or the other. Right, so if we're mindful about what we're touching, we can actually shift mood, and part of this is about how do you shift mood? How do you get to a different perspective? Shift mood with what we touch. Textures. So this is a little, it's a little container. It's woven of some kind of grasses or something. So this bottom part is much rougher than the others. This part is way smoother. And so I have multiple textures here. This string is a way different texture from the rest of it. So if I feel this slowly, I can feel, yeah, blankets are really comforting. So I can feel this, and depending on which part of my fingers I touch it with, I feel different things. So the fingertips are the most sensitive. So if you slow down and feel something with your fingertips, whereas if you feel with the back of your, you know, the corner of your hand at the back opposite the thumb, it feels totally different, right? If you feel where your lifeline is, for me, that's a little ticklish, right? So you can touch with different parts of your hand and actually have different experiences with the same objects, which is kind of cool. This is wood, so it's all wood. It's a little thing that my parents brought back from Africa. They got it there on a trip when I was not born, basically. So this has all different textures. It's pretty smooth. The top where it's carved is a little bit less smooth. Where the legs are, where there's this indentation, it's a little bit less smooth. The horn is kind of sharp, so that feels totally different. So as you're thinking of your three objects, think of all different things. So this is kind of a knick-knacky thing that sits in my crystal case. This is a little animal. It's a little stuffed animal. It's an owl. I got it when I got it 30-some years ago. It's very soft. It's got little fur. It's kind of old, so it's getting a little grody, right? It's got eyes, and then these feel different from the fur. What other things? So think of all different things that you could use for your objects as you choose your objects. They can be, those were some knickknacks. They can be things like containers, like this glass container. So this has a raised image on it, but this side is very smooth. And then this top feels different, right? There's a little bit of a bubble there. As you feel with different parts of your hand, it feels different, right? What else do I have? So I have this hat. So this is pretty textural. The outside is one texture. What's it like if I put my hand inside? So this is such a big thing that I can actually have my whole hand in it, and I can experience what it's like, not just to feel it on my fingertips or the center of my hand or the back of my hand or my thumb. I can feel it on the top of my hand as well, right? Because our skin is the biggest organ on our body, and we touch with our skin. Skin is a huge, you know, how we touch and what we touch makes a huge difference to how we feel. This is This is metal, so it's kind of cold, feels kind of cold. It was an award that Dave won for winning something in an art show. So it's got a lot of raised parts to it and then some smooth parts to it. So you could choose something like that. You could choose an award that one of your kids won. You could choose all kinds of things. This is a mask. So this mask I wear out typically, oops, let me see if I can show it. This mask I wear out typically on Halloween. Oop, not working. So it's got a lot of different variations. So this is kind of glittery. So this feels different from this, which is braided. This is kind of a rough flower, and these are feathers. So each of these has different textures, different ways that they feel. Okay. Almost done with my show and tell, and then we're going to move into the practice. This is pink tourmaline. So this is a crystal. If you use all your senses, I find this very beautiful. This is another that you could hold with your whole hand. You could feel how it feels like in your whole hand. You can use your fingers to touch the top of it. You can look at this. You can feel how it is as it goes from one place to another. This feels different with all this kind of calcified white. This striated place feels different from this rough bit, right? This rough bit is very, very rough to my fingertips. Each fingertip feels it differently though. So this fingertip seems to be the most responsive. This fingertip I have much less sensation in. So these are all experiments you can do when you choose your items. This is a little starfish. So this starfish is quite rough out towards the edges, pretty smooth right here in the center. And then when you go to the back, I need to be really careful because it's dry. The outside here is quite rough and the inside is pretty malleable. When it's alive, it's even more malleable. You know, it's a soft, wet sensation if you come across one of these and it's alive. Let's see, what else have I got? So this is a brush. This is one of Dave's brushes, not one he ever used, but he liked sort of fantastical things. So there's 4 of these sort of wild looking brushes that he had. So the top is very different. This is maybe a crystal, maybe something else. I don't really know. It's got gaps in between it. This may be ivory. This is quite an old thing. And then the very, very soft top. So you can put the soft bit on the top on this. There's quite a lot of evidence that taking something soft like a brush or something and brushing your skin is very, very healthy for the body. It's very good for feeling nurtured. It's a huge act of self-care and self-love to actually feel, yeah, I love the starfish too, to actually feel your skin in a nurturing and gentle way. So I invite you maybe to have a brush and to feel how that feels. So this is a little thing of lipstick. So this is kind of a little bit sticky feeling. This feels, it's pretty matte. It's not a smooth, glossy surface. This top is quite glossy. And then I didn't want to do a lot of liquids because they're just a little complicated to do when we're on live. But this is coconut oil. The coconut oil I showed yesterday. It's pretty, and it shows up like this. So it shows up as a kind of a viscous experience. So you can do the coconut oil. How does that feel? It kind of glides. It doesn't melt in like a lotion, so it feels different. And then there's the container. So you could do the container, you could do just the coconut oil, or whatever you want. Okay. So we're going to move into the practice. In the practice, and this is one that you can do with me, so I'm very, very excited to be doing touch. In the practice, I want you to settle into a chair, sink into your own body. Yeah, I love how that happens too. It's really cool. So you're going to sink into your own body all the way down to your sit bones. Breathe in with your nose, out with your mouth, in with your nose, out with your mouth, in with your nose, and out with your mouth. Okay. What I want you to do today is I want you to participate with me. I want you first to put your hand in front of your face. Okay? Hold up your own hand. And I want you to look at your hand in a way that you've never looked at your hand before, just all of your hand. So your hand is made up of, it's kind of a magnificent thing. So it bends, it splays, it stretches out, it can curl, it can do all kinds of things. It's got nails, it's got skin, right? It's got lifelines. If you look on your lifeline. So I want to invite you to take a couple of minutes, and I'm actually just going to let us do this together. So I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have you do it, and I want you to feel your fingernails. What do those feel like? And try feeling your fingernails with different fingertips. See how each one feels, because I bet you it's different. The thumb is it's much less sensitive, significantly less sensitive for me. Then I want you to look at your fingers, and I want you to take at the first joint of this finger, your forefinger, run it down the other one, like that. What does that feel like? So there's where you go over that first joint, and there's where you go over where it really bends, where there's kind of a lot of extra skin so that you can bend it, and then down to here to where this does this. It's kind of amazing, right? So you can do that more quickly across the rest of your fingers. You can do it with your different fingers on the inside. For me, that's a little bit ticklish doing the inside. And you can notice how the outside is much rougher. This is actually significantly smoother. There's a real difference to the texture of the inside of your hand than the outside of your hand. Then I want you to go to the top of your hand and really gently move in a circle around the top of your hand with your other hand. And when you're doing it on your own, you could do both hands. Remember, I said that actually touching or brushing your own skin is enormously good for the body, enormously good for your health, your well-being, feeling good, buffering you from all the stuff that happens in life. So then do this. Run your hands between each other. Feel how that feels. Hold them together like this and do this. And you can see as the hand sinks into the indents and the raised portions of the other hand. You can do it like a wave. You could do this and actually grip one hand with the other, hold them. Each of our hands have lifelines. You can go along the lifelines of your hand. How does that feel? So this practice of just touching our hands, just being mindful of how sensitive our hands are, is really, really important. Just taking care of ourselves in this way. You can see it's very intimate. It's very connected. It's something that you can do for yourself. Okay, now I want you to do one more thing in terms of our practice. I want you to, and I can't easily do this with this on, but I want you to take your ear and I want you to run your finger around your ear all the way to the bottom. So all the way like that, which you can't see, of course. So, and my ear's all red. But anyway, like that. So you're going to do this, and then I invite you to go inside the ear and feel how that is. Don't poke your finger in your ear. It's not good for you. But just feel all the different things about the ear. Our bodies are really amazing, 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 amazing organisms. And we don't really stop to think about how incredible they are. So there's a woman named Kris Carr who's pretty well known. She got a terminal disease, and she was basically, she has to manage what she eats and it's very slow. She could live a long time, she could live a short time. We actually don't know. But I saw her speak, and she said that there were times when she really hated her body. She really hated her body for letting her down and for not supporting her in the way that she really expected it to support her. And we have these experiences where we really don't like how our bodies look, how our bodies feel, how we feel in our bodies. We want to be more active. We want to be more thin. We want to be more whatever, right? She said in those moments where she really was angry at her body for how it was letting her down, what she would do is she would stroke a tiny square on her body, maybe her arm, maybe her leg, maybe her face, maybe her forehead, just some small, and she said it was an inch. And she would focus on pouring love into that inch of skin. So touch is one of the most important things we can do to really pour love in on ourselves, proactively and consciously. Okay, so that is the practice. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to block your view. The assignment between now and noon tomorrow is to choose 3 things to touch. One is going to be your own skin, hair, teeth, or nails, just the way I just showed you. So really, really take your time, really slow down. Use all your different fingertips. Use your palm. Use the back of your hand. Be imaginative, and really experience what it's like to touch your own skin, your own body in some way. Choose one thing to touch that's outside or in nature, and take one that's of your own choosing. This is the last day of the From Pain to Peace 5-day challenge. I'm going to leave up the Facebook Lives in the group until Sunday at midnight. So if you want to watch them, again, that's the time frame. Watch them. You can watch them for free until Sunday at midnight. If you have friends that you think should see these, have them come in the group and watch them. They will be up for free until Sunday at midnight. Ask yourself what you noticed as you mindfully practiced touch this way. As I've said before, there's a homework thread for each day I forgot to put up day 4, so day 4 and day 5, you need to participate in those threads by noon tomorrow. There is a grand prize, so even if you didn't get to participate in each thread, if you participate in all 5 threads by midnight on Sunday, you will be in a drawing for a grand prize. And finally, I am going to offer a special treat on Sunday. I'm not sure what time, but I'm going to offer a word bath meditation. So we talked about words, I think, on the sound day, the importance of words, the importance of really paying attention to what we own and take into ourselves in the words that we receive, in the words that we accept. So a word bath is basically going to be a meditation with my speaking all different words and you allowing those words to sink into your skin to be received, so that you can own pieces of yourself that you may have not owned for a while. So there is a friend of mine who said to me that he finds me desirable. And it kind of freaked me out because I haven't really thought about myself that way for a few years. And so there are words that you will encounter that you will find challenging to own. What I ask you to do during the word bath meditation is just allow them to lay on your skin. Those that you can, allow them to sink into your being. Take them on. So that's it. Allison Penna, Bad Widow and creator of the Affluence Code system. Keep watching, keep paying attention. I'm going to be doing more challenges. I'm going to be offering more stuff in this group. Invite your friends in if you think that they would like it. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to talk to me personally, I will be putting a thread up where you can connect with me and we can have a 20-minute conversation and see what support, if any, additional resources, and I have a lot of resources I can provide you to address your own challenges. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.